right mind would open up a Jiu Jitsu gym 7 hours away from them as a 2-stripe white belt? That's the story of how Jon Eisfelder created Renzo Gracie, Spokane Valley. And today we are very excited to welcome him to the Resenha podcast. Resenha, it's the time we get to take after class and training to talk about things, life, training, moves we just worked on, or just joke around. We talk about how he started his journey in Jiu Jitsu, how he used his son as an excuse to himself get into Jiu Jitsu, his training in the military, his thoughts on how he started the gym, why he started it as a 2-stripe white belt, and so much more. This is a can't miss episode, especially if you've always been interested in why and how our gym got started. So, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Jon, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
I'm super excited. Finally happening.
Finally, yes, after a couple of mishaps the first time as somebody was trying to figure out how to operate her devices. Me. So jumping into it, when did you start Jiu Jitsu and where?
Oh goodness. So I started about 4 years ago. So I was 46. My son, he's been bullied a little bit, and they opened up a school close to us. And I just jumped in. I took him in. I fed him to the wolves. I secretly really wanted to train, but that's a hard step, walking through that door. You see all those guys doing cool stuff on the mats, and you're peeking through the windows, and you see all the stuff happening, and it's a hard step to walk through that door and say, hey, I suck. Can I learn? Mm-hmm. And I took Nate in, and I'm like, hey, bud, good luck. And I sat on the sidelines and watched him, and he was having a great time, and he's like, I love this, Dad. And the professor that owned that school, he came over, talked to me, got me on the mats a little bit, showed me some stuff, and I was just addicted, like day one.
So is there a specific reason why you started Jiu Jitsu? So
20-year retired military. I was retired as a Navy chief, and I got out. I was a Ada County deputy for a couple of years, so I thought I was cool. I thought I could fight. I thought I was the bee's knees, right? And we actually own and operate some recovery homes, and I had an incident with a tenant that he was high at the time, and it could have ended poorly. It could have ended real bad, and big dude. And, you know, one thing about being an Ada County deputy was the verbal jiu-jitsu, teaching you to talk to people and talking them off the ledge, or, you know, just getting them to calm down and just talking with people. The skills I learned there in the jail was just incredible. And so I managed to talk this guy down. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but that situation really scared me. And that was kind of the instigating factor. Like, I had a lot of build-up with Nate and bullies and school being tough, and just wanted him to be a strong man when he grows up. So I had a lot of other things leading up to it, but that was kind of the straw. And this guy, he swole up on me, started walking at me, and I told him, I'm going home tonight, are you? I was prepared to hurt him. And he backed down pretty quick, and then he left. And so it ended the best way it could have, but it could have been real bad. And that's when I kind of decided something needs to happen here, and I need more training. That was the same time that school was opening up, and it was just kind of a domino effect, like real quick, bam, bam, bam. And I walked into school, and that's what took Nate in there, and like I said, used him as an excuse. And that was kind of a freaky moment for me. And I'd been running those houses for 2 to 3 years at that point, and never had an incident like that. There's always, quite often there's negative interactions, but usually just verbal. And so it's not a scary moment. It's just, again, talking people down. But that one just escalated really quick. Jiu-jitsu, confidence-wise, for me, has made it better that I can talk more. And it's also taught me that you don't want this to go that direction. You want to do everything you can to not make a negative interaction turn into a street fight. Being untrained and thinking you know what you're doing is probably way worse than being trained and not wanting to fight.
Did you do any jiu-jitsu training or combatives or anything like that in the military?
No. So now let me rephrase that. Before I went to Iraq, they sent us to, I think it was El Paso or someplace in Texas, a joint army base. And they gave us 2 weeks of training. And it was mostly weapons retention. And so it was not letting the enemy get your weapon. And I'm like, okay, if they're this close, it's already a problem for me. But secondly, they taught us, when I was going to Iraq, I was in the Navy, they attached me to the Army. Our whole unit got attached to the Army, a prison guard, or prison unit, jail unit. A lot of it was also kind of jail control techniques, how to cuff people, how to leg iron them, especially when they're fighting back or whatever. And so it wasn't even really grappling or jiu-jitsu or anything. But every once in a while we get a little bit, like a one-day class once every 6 months. That was like an hour long or something. I was a CB. I wasn't technically combat unit. And so not a lot of training there. Went to Ada County, went to post, and we had 2 weeks of long days of grappling, cuffing, subduing, that kind of thing. And then a couple days a week for the duration of post. So when I walked into that jiu-jitsu school thinking, okay, I'm gonna try not to hurt people. I'm gonna take it easy on them. I don't want to go in there with a big head and just hurt people, I'm gonna learn. They're probably gonna have something they can teach me. Oh, I was so humiliated. It was bad. So that was my experience with that, yeah.
Didn't you say you got beat up by a little blue belt girl?
She was a no-stripe blue belt, and I think she was about 120 pounds. And for that entire class, I was her rag doll. And it was so humiliating, so embarrassing. She was so good, and that's why I was hooked. It was when you have a small person, I was 60 pounds heavier than her, and literally I couldn't do anything. I was just trying to survive, and I was like, this is amazing, I love it.
Do you think you could have benefited more from more jiu-jitsu in the Navy, or do you think that it was all right considering you weren't technically a combatives unit?
No, so jiu-jitsu is way more than jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. There's so much more to it. There's the confidence as a man, the confidence to know, okay, I'm gonna survive the situation. The confidence to know that, hey, if things go bad, I've got another skill. The confidence in myself to know my limits, to know what I can and can't do. You hear, I'll just go red. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. You're gonna gas out in 3 seconds, then you're gonna get hurt. In a world full of rainbows and kittens, I would love to see all military get, just, if nothing else, a confidence thing, a physical fitness thing. But law enforcement especially, they need a whole lot of, in the jail, I didn't get in a ton of fights, but I got in quite a few fights. And when you're a jail deputy, the cool thing is that you just call a code 3 and you got to hold on for 30 seconds. So even if the dude is huge, hold on for 30 seconds, then you're gonna have 20 deputies piling through that door. But I could have avoided a lot of that with jiu-jitsu. So many of those interactions could have been avoided if I would have had basic jiu-jitsu, not even up to blue. It would have saved a lot of pain, a lot of injuries, a lot of possible lawsuits for the county. The hard part is law enforcement works such crazy hours that trying to carve out another hour a day to go train, that's tough. You only get so many hours a day, and family or jiu-jitsu is kind of what it comes down to. And so it's tough, but at the same time, being safe and uninjured when you're at work is kind of a big thing. I wish there was a way to get more first responders, military, law enforcement into training.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we have a pretty good discount for them, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's my heart right there, right? Like, everybody should train something. I don't even care if it's judo or something. You should be training something. I obviously prefer jiu-jitsu for a lot of reasons, but that's my heart there. Is just people who really legitimately need it. I mean, the reality is most people don't need the jiu-jitsu, don't need that, but the confidence, the skill, just in case you walk into the grocery store and something happens, or you're at the bank and something happens. This is 2026, the world's crazy. You walk into your kid's school and something happens. I mean, everything from a crazy other parent to a bad teacher, you never know what's gonna happen in today's world. And just having that skill is vital. But first responders, that's the daily interaction. Typically the first responders are dealing with people at the lowest point of their lives that day. Mm-hmm. And you have to help/control the situation. That's tough.
That is a lot. My uncle, he was a captain in Yukon in Oklahoma, and he was like, you never know if you're gonna go to someone who is about to really harm themselves, mm-hmm. or if you're going to a kid's birthday party. And it's like, maybe you go to the kid's birthday party right after you see something really gnarly, and you have to just contain all of that. It really wears on you.
It's crazy how fast things turn. Mm-hmm. And The jail was notorious for that. I specialized in the medical unit, and that unit is crazy because sometimes it's so boring until it's not. And it goes literally from 0 to 100 at the blink of an eye. And most of the times, so unexpectedly, you know, they just run at you. Or you look up and they're trying to drown themselves in the shower head. You're like, wait a minute, I was just checking on you and now you're trying to swallow the shower head. Let's not do that. You know, I mean, the world is a crazy place. And especially those, like you just said, you just don't know. And then, like you said, now you're going to leave work with all that baggage on you and go home. I used to take the slow way around and find a place to park on the way and cruise Facebook for a minute or whatever. But that was my relief. Man, I wish I would have had jiu-jitsu then. I'd gone to class for an hour and then go home. Leave it on the mat, because that's the one place you can just zone out for an hour. Nothing else exists except you thinking your chess piece of that match, that where you're at in that moment. You can't think about anything else. And then, man, I wish I would have had that when I was law enforcement.
Now so it's been about 4 years since you started, and you got the bug so bad that as a 3-stripe white belt, you decided to start your own jiu-jitsu gym 9 hours away from you?
I don't think I was a 3-stripe. I think it was a 2-stripe when I started. Yeah, so I've been training for like 2 months, and I was like, I'm opening a school. This is cool. And I think when it actually opened, I was a 3-stripe. Yeah, it's so. I was stationed in California forever. I'm from Spokane, Washington. What's funny is I tell people that the pick and save on the corner down here, it's like a pick and save or a secondhand store or whatever. I tell people that was my first job in that building. It was an old country buffet. I spent like 40 hours a week through my entire high school career washing dishes in that building. And so I'm like a block and a half away is my childhood, right? I spent like 17 years in California, and when I asked my wife to marry me, I was like, you know, I'm not staying here. So if we're getting married, I would like my wife to come with me. So that's kind of a big decision here. You're kind of making 2 decisions here. And my whole goal was just to get her out of California, because it's hard to leave your home. It's hard to leave the place you grew up, your friends, your family, or whatever, right? But I told her, I was like, you want to go to Hawaii? We'll go to Hawaii. You want to go to Florida or New York? I don't care. But I don't want to be in California. And we came to visit my aunt in Boise, Idaho. And we're like, oh, it's beautiful here. And I was like, yeah, cool, let's go there. And so that was supposed to be a stopping point, like a rest area, right? Just a layover for a year or two, and then kind of mosey back up into Spokane, Post Falls, somewhere over here. But we've been there almost 11 years now, and which is by far the longest place we've ever been together during our entire marriage. We've been married 22 years now, and the longest up to that point was 2.5 years, I think. Yeah, so I got the bug. I told her the other day, I was like, I'm let's roll. Pick a place, let's go. And she's like, the kids. I'm like, okay, yeah, reality.
But they're adults now, basically, so.
Yeah. Well, and so that, you know, I mean, ultimately, I really, really, really want to be up here. And we were talking about it last night at dinner, and I was like, you know, I just feel so happy here. I love coming to the school. Walking through the door, I get a smile on my face, and just being here. And I don't know if I think it's more than just because I grew up here. I think it's this area. It's beautiful. It's happy. The sun's out. It's just such a beautiful place, and I'm just so happy here. And so I'm like, you know, we may have to make a hard decision here soon. She even said last night, she's like, I love it here. I'm so happy here. Like,
so then move.
Right? All right, let's go get dinner tonight. You can talk to her.
I will. I mean, I love Spokane. I grew up here. Yeah. The longest I was ever away was when I went to California for college, but I was only on campus. So really I was at Biola. Markus, when he was like, if we go down to California together, you can show me around California. I was like, I can show you the Walmart and Jiu-Jitsu gym I went to, maybe the In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A. He was like, you didn't do anything else? I was like, no. He's like, you didn't go to the beach? I was like, I was 10 minutes away from the beach, and I went there maybe 4 times in the 4 years I was in college. Yeah. I was not a beach person. I was like,
bring me the mountains and the lakes.
Exactly. And Spokane is it's beautiful, like you said, and we have, I think it's perfect because we have the mountains, we have like 3 or 4 ski hills around, we have Idaho and the gas prices get too crazy. You can go over to Seattle for a weekend if you want to go in that area and do some hiking in the Cascades and everything. It's like Spokane is the best. And
it's like a central hub to everything.
It's fantastic. And even if you wanted to go to Canada, we're like 4 hours away from Canada.
Absolutely.
So it's fantastic. I don't ever want to leave.
I agree.
So tell me the story of our gym. What was the process like going into it? How did you even start it? Did you just be like, okay, I'm hooked, I'm gonna start my own business in jiu-jitsu right now? Or did somebody come in and say, hey, you wanna go into business with me?
So, so it's kind of funny is Barbara laughs at me because she just never knows what's gonna happen. Calling my insurance guy, he laughs every time the phone rings. He's like, okay, Jon, what do we got going on now? Because there for a while, I was calling like every 3 or 4 months. Hey, I'm looking at this. What do you think? And he'd be like, well, the insurance would be a little crazy on it. I was going to do like a rehab business, like a fire flood, whatever. Then there was like a hazmat cleanup company I was looking at for like dead bodies and stuff. And so Barbara laughed, like, man, when you go, you go. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I get bored. I get bored easy. And so I was training for like 2 months. The cool thing is I'm a morning guy. I got to train in the morning. Past noon, even just the gym, it's hard for me to get moving and get a good workout. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the military. We always train in the morning. I don't know what it was, but man, and it's my time. It's, I get up, I read my Bible, I say my prayers, I go to the gym. That's my every morning, well, most mornings. And so my morning team, man, I still love those guys. Those guys are awesome. And the morning wrist lockers, that's who we are. And so the coach at the time was a purple belt, and he was coaching at that particular school while he was opening his own school about 15 miles down the road. And we were talking and got to know him pretty well, and he was explaining that, and I was like, you're not a black belt. He goes, oh no, jiu-jitsu, that's not, you can open a school, you need a black belt, but you can open a school. I'm like, what? Really? He was like, yeah. And so I went and talked to the owner, the professor that got me on the mats. And I was like, hey, I hear this is a thing. He's like, yeah, you interested? I'm like, yeah. He goes, let's go get coffee. I'm in. And we went and got coffee, and he kind of explained the process. And I think that from coffee to doors open was like 3 months. It was pretty quick. We were hustling, and it was definitely a very, very fast process. And when we opened up the school, man, those mats, I mean, we got some pretty good mats now. We still need to tune them up. I want to get some nice mats for takedown class. But the original mat we came in, man, it was like tarps over foam or something. I'm so glad those things are gone. It got the job done, and we opened real quick. Great space. This place was a church at one point, and it was interesting finding our first professor. It felt like, what's that talent show where they're trying to find
America's Got Talent?
Yeah, so it felt something like that. Like we were looking for the talent, we're interviewing everybody, we're reaching out, calling people. So when we opened, I was like, hey, I got the money, I don't have the skill, the know-how, or the jiu-jitsu. He's like, I got you. And so he reached out to somebody in Brazil, and they put us in contact with the guy who, I don't know if this is his business model, but he fought in UFC for a while, but he's like, look, I will find you the guy. There's a finder's fee, and then there's a monthly keep them on fee. And so once we found the guy, we paid him X amount of dollars to help us find a guy. And then once we interviewed and found one that we liked, then I paid him a monthly as long as he lasted. So there's kind of an incentive to find me somebody good, because he still wanted to keep getting that monthly check. And I was willing to pay that to have a very good, high quality professor.
So when our first professor came, you weren't just paying the first professor's paycheck, you were also paying a bit of a paycheck to the guy.
Yeah, it was very small. It wasn't like a huge amount, but it was like $100 or $200 a month. Okay. So it wasn't crazy. But to me, it was to find a good quality, and he was very skilled, very good, and so our paths separated about the time you got here and Markus got here, which was a crazy timing thing. It was just incredible how that all transpired. He brought us up big, and he was running this whole school by himself, so I got to give him a lot of credit for that. I'm still living in Meridian, Idaho, and I commute up here. I think yesterday's drive was 7.5 hours.
Did you plan to school in Spokane so you'd have an excuse to come back?
Oh yeah. 100%, absolutely. So the first franchise we were in the valley there, all the rights are sold. And quite honestly, I was training with the people that owned the area. So I didn't want to be that guy, like, the whole respect thing. Respect is big with me. I felt it would be disrespectful if I went in and just opened up a school
And as a 2-stripe white belt, you didn't want to bite the hand that fed you.
Exactly. And so, yeah, when Professor and I were talking about where to open up, I was like, hey, I really like Spokane. That's where I grew up. I know the area. I know the people. I know. He's like, sounds good, let's go. And so we came up. His friend has a school in Hayden. So he's like, it gives me an excuse to go see my friend. I was like, all right, cool. So he drove up, spent the weekend with his friend. I flew up for the day, and we saw 3 buildings. And I said, that one.
And it's the one we're in.
That's the one we're in, yep. And it's all worked out. But yeah, and so Professor flew in, and I rented an apartment for him, and he flew in, got him to the apartment, and it was like, all right, here's the keys, good luck. And they started classes, and we were here for opening day and like 2 more days for classes just to kind of get the flow going. And then it was his show, and I'd come up, and Professor would open school with me. He would come in and help, and he would come up every month or 2. And so we were here together. There was one of us here probably once or twice a month. So it worked out well, and that was so long ago. When Professor Markus love you and Professor Markus. You guys have really helped the school big. But Professor Markus, that was a funny whole situation is when, I'm not sure, so Professor Garrett is the one that helped open the school. So Garrett, I'm not sure how he found Markus, but he's like, I got a brown belt that wants to come and teach. I got an interview scheduled. What do you think? I was like, well, I know that Professor could use some help up there. Let's talk to him. And so we got on a Zoom with Professor Markus, and he could speak English. And I was like, yes, it's a win. And so, but obviously, great personality. We clicked, same thoughts on and off the mats, and just kind of the same direction. And I was like, all right, cool. And I said, let's fly him in and do kind of a, hey, you're here, and let's see how it goes kind of thing. And he landed. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he made that jump. I remember we picked him up from the airport. We took him to lunch because he just landed, and he was like, so where am I going again? And I'm like, man, you have some faith beyond all measure. That is absolutely crazy that he's like, whatever, I just want to teach jiu-jitsu. I'm excited, let's do this, I was like, okay, so we're going to stay here for the weekend in Meridian, the school I trained at, Professor Garrett owned at the time. Train here for the weekend, then you and I are going to drive up to Spokane, get you settled, get you squared away, and you'll train Spokane. He's like, okay, so where's Spokane again? And so I showed him on the map. He's like, well, what's it like there? And so I kind of explained like the weather thing, and it was a unusual 6.5-hour drive that yeah, it was kind of funny, but yeah, his trust and faith and to come here and train, and then you just showed up at the same time. And
yeah, a couple months out, because he came in April and then I came in June, and then the rest is history.
So it's been a process, but we're coming up on year 4.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. But it seems so much longer because there's been like every day, like the days can go by so slowly, and then all of a sudden it's Friday and you're like, where did the week go? And then you're just like, oh, it's only year 4. I feel like we've been here for 4, 5, 6, 7 years maybe. So it's a great journey. Lots of things have improved and changed. What would you say the biggest improvement and change has been?
I mean, obviously you and Markus coming in, because you've really turned this place into like a family. It's so much fun watching you guys interact with the students, the parents, and first name basis, and our group WhatsApp chat. I love watching those chats, just seeing parents getting together off the mats. What was it, next weekend I think it is? They're going to watch the orchestra or something, the moms, Jiu Jitsu kids'
like
moms.
That. Yeah.
That's incredible. So I mean, the moms have gotten together, they've created their own little group.
And even after the homeschool class, a lot of the moms and their kids go straight from jiu-jitsu to the trampoline park right afterwards.
I don't know how they have the energy, but that's awesome.
Well, I think it's more of the kids that still have the energy, not the moms.
So I mean, you guys have really turned this place around, but I mean, when we opened day 1, we were a different franchise. We had parted ways. What was that? That was, I mean, officially
November.
Officially it was like January 1st was like the cut date. And we jumped over to Renzo, and it's been phenomenal. It's been a little difficult. It's been a little rough. The whole uniform gi, trying to...
The lead time between everything.
Yeah, just trying to figure out everything so quickly without I don't want to say without the support, because that's what we wanted. The first franchise was so micromanaged, tell you everything, you can, you can't, you shouldn't, or else with the stick.
There was no room for personal creativity.
Yeah, and so going to Renzo, and I've nothing but good things to say. It's been great. The support when I've needed, I can call and say, hey, what do you think about this? But otherwise, they don't bother us, and it's been phenomenal. Creating our own gis, creating our own rash guards and no-gi. You know, I just dropped off our school t-shirts that we created. That's so refreshing. It's nice. Designing the I don't know if I can drop the ladies gi, the what do we call it? The special, or
the Lilac City limited edition women's gi.
There we are. The Lilac limited edition. That's a big name.
The Lilac City limited edition women's gi in black or white.
That's gonna be hard to market, but okay, cool.
We'll just say the Lilac City uniform or something like that. Yeah.
So that's coming. We couldn't have done that. There was no way that would have happened.
And it's neat. Now, our other affiliation, I have gained a lot of respect for after the transition, just because now we're doing everything on our own. It's like, now I see how they can be a huge conglomerate like this. And now I understand why some of their uniforms look a little not the best, because sometimes you're just like, screw it, we're going to choose this option because nobody else can agree on anything else.
This is it. This is the choice.
It's frustrating sometimes, but also at the same time, it's great because now instead of maybe, and I don't know what their structure is like, maybe like 10 people saying yes to a design, we have 3, you and me and Markus. And that's been really nice. I'm excited to start after we get, because this women's gi is a big project and something near and dear to my heart, obviously, since I'm a woman. And we have such a great women's group, and I want to really celebrate that after we figure out this gi and get it all taken care of. Designing a new gi for unisex gis, like maybe we could do something about the Pacific Northwest or something.
Oh, I love that,
So I really appreciate the creative freedom as well. I feel like my synapses have been firing nonstop. I'm like, ooh, let's do this. Ooh, let's do that.
This podcast, I mean, being able to do this. I don't even know if we would have been able to on the other one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And our blog as well, that's been really cool. And the social media, I mean, we were able to do social media with the other people as well. I think it was good to start off with the one affiliation because it helped show how to do things.
Well, and quite honestly, it was plug and play for me. I'm learning Jiu Jitsu.
And you're learning how to operate a jiu-jitsu business.
Which I've never done. I mean, I've opened other businesses, but something I've never even thought I was ever going to do in my entire life.
Until 2 months into your jiu-jitsu career.
All right, I'm opening a school, let's do this. You know, so that was very plug and play, which made it easy. And so I know you're enjoying the freedom. I mean, it's been great. What's crazy is I feel like we as staff and our coaches are happier with the freedom, which I think is also affecting the students and affecting our growth has been incredible since we swapped.
Well, now everybody can wear black gis. So.
I think that was the hook. They don't care what the Gracie is. They just want black
Let
gis.
me wear the black gi. We had our comp class last night, and there was a sea of black gi. There were like 3 or 4 other colors. I think I was wearing my blue gi, and I remember it doesn't tie the correct way, and well, I mean it ties, but it comes undone. And I'm just like, wow, I am. And I think Professor was even wearing a black gi.
Oh, very good.
I missed the memo today.
One of these kids is doing their own thing.
So has being a gym owner given you a new appreciation for the mats when you train?
You know, so I still train at a school from the other affiliation because it's the one I started at. I've got deep roots there, and the new owner is amazing. I love the new owner down there. And so I see stuff when I'm training down there that I still try to, I'm like, oh, new guy showed up this morning. Let me help that intro because I want his school to grow as well. And so I really try to, you know, if I see some trash I'm picking up trash. I mean, you know, the sink's not quite clean. I'll wipe it out real quick, you know. To me, that's love for your school because let's be honest, when you spend a lot of time in a place where your adoptive family is, you want that place to be nice. You want it to grow. You want it to be, you know, but as an owner, it's that times 10. I mean, when you walk into a restaurant and you go into the bathroom and the trash is overflowing and the sink's dirty and there's water on, well, we hope it's water on the floor, that's a huge impression. You can see the front desk looks clean, but if that bathroom's not clean, that's a huge indication of what's going on behind the scenes.
And maybe the kitchen's not clean if they can't take care of the bathroom. About the kitchen?
Exactly. Well, it's the same thing as an owner of a school. You know, if underneath the seats for the parents isn't clean, that's a big thing. Again, trash in the bathrooms overflowing, that's the thing. The locker rooms, if there's leftover water bottles everywhere, that's a thing, right? And so training and being a business owner, it brings a different aspect to it. And, you know, Professor down in Boise, again, amazing, absolutely phenomenal. Watching what he's done, he's got so much experience. And I think this is number 4 school he's opened, 3, 4, something like that. He's done a lot of training in the UFC. He was an MMA fighter for a lot of years. So yeah, Professor Scott Carr, amazing dude, amazing, a beast, absolute beast on the mats. I dodge him. So Professor, if you're seeing this, I dodge you. He's just incredible. But some of my best, what I think are my best moves, are from him, and it's just great. Just, you know, I don't get as many of his classes because he's not a morning guy. He'll come 3, 4, you know, I think he's come 3 or 4 times in the last year, which is amazing. That's great. But some of my best, what I feel is stuff that I've really been able to add to my game has come from him. But with all his experience, like I'm watching what he's doing down there, and I do copy stuff. I bring it up here, and I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And we might fine tune it to fit us. Yeah. But I'm getting a lot of ideas from him. And he knows what he's doing down there, and he's doing some great things, and it's been fun.
So going quickly back to the classes that we have our fundamentals class, we have a couple morning classes, 3 noon classes, Saturday class, 5 evening classes. We have our little kids class, our 3 to 4 year olds, our 5 to 6 year olds, 7 to 10 year olds, 11 to 15 year olds, our teens demographic. We have a women's only class. We have a competition class for the kids. We have a takedown class, variety of classes. Why do we have all those classes? What's the importance of that?
Well, I think you missed a big one that I love. I love going down to my school down there and telling them we have this class, because they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, we have a traveling competition team that you have to try out for. That's my favorite one to. You don't hear of schools having a traveling competition team. Like you hear these parents, yeah, my kid's got traveling volleyball, traveling baseball, traveling whatever. I'm like, yeah, but do they go choke people out in other states or other cities? My school does, you know, and so they're like, wait a minute. I was like, no, it's great. One of the moms, that's like her stick for her kid. She told me that her child has to ask the professor each time to compete on the team. That's a huge stick. Parents can use that. They want to be on this team. It's you have to try out. Professor has to approve you to be on his team. He's not going to take kids that aren't doing good in school, that are being disrespectful, who aren't training well or training hard, who aren't helping other kids. We have to have all those classes to meet those needs, but that's my favorite class. But I was having a discussion with a guy down in Meridian at class the other day, and he's like, you know, our morning class is kind of small. I mean, it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. I disagree. I said, even if we only had 2 guys here, they're getting something out of it, number 1. Their day's gonna be better, number 2. Their day can't get any harder. They've already achieved the hardest part of their day. They've been choked out, they've been armbarred, they've been ankle locked, they've been beat up for an hour. Nothing that's gonna happen at work after that is gonna be worse than...
Especially if it's a desk job.
Yeah, 1000%, right? Gonna have a better day the rest of the day, right? You've got that dopamine hit from getting your heart rate up. You've just learned something cool. Your brain's just thinking. That chest, while you're driving, that chest is working in your head. But he's probably got kids that are in the evening class. If we didn't have that morning class, would he be at our school helping us and being part of our family? Probably not. So I think it's very important to have options, because nobody's life is the same. Somebody might have a stay-at-home mom that's able to bring their kids to whatever class. That's not most families right now. Yeah. Most families, parents are working. They might have babysitter, or what was it called, like latchkey kid, or do you remember that term? That probably wasn't your era. But it's you know, the kids that come home by themselves and they're taking care of themselves. You know, I don't know if that's the thing. That's how I grew up. But,
yeah, I mean, I grew up like that too.
So I mean, it's a world where parents have to work, and so a lot of night people. So they do train in the morning because they get off work and come to class. So we need to have those options, and it's a sign of growth as well. I mean, we started with, I think it was gi, 5 nights a week, 1 class, 1 kids class, 1 adult class. I think we had 2 morning classes is what we started with. And now
we have 2 classes a day
Yeah.
We have 2 adult classes every single day, except for Saturdays. And we have 3, sometimes 4 kids classes.
Yeah, and I think we need more. It's crazy. Like I said, I drive 7.5 hours to come to school, but I watch those cameras all the time. I'm always clicking on those cameras. I don't know how you guys do it. Sometimes you can't even see all the kids that are lined up on the mats on the cameras sometimes. I'm like, what? You know?
Well, the nice thing is all that's on Professor Markus' side, and he has a lot of experience dealing with lots of kids and lack of space. Like, the audience, you can't see our room, but it's not like a big room, and he was training in he owned his own little gym in Brazil that was smaller than this. He had 25 kids on the mats, and he'd have to figure out how to work around that. And he also has great, and you know this, but he has great help from we have Coach Nick, Coach Jeremy, who are studs and help out all the time his class, and it's been Louis is great. Amber's mine. Yeah, I really like all of our classes, especially the morning classes. For the past 4 Oh no, it's been 3 years since I graduated college. For the past 7 years, basically, I've been doing morning classes every Monday and Wednesday, and at least every Monday and Wednesday, Friday as well, but then we took out our Friday classes. But the thing is, too, is I think people forget that if you have a smaller class, that means you have more time to ask Professor questions. He's only focused on you or in maybe one other group of people. And yeah, maybe you don't get the variety of people to grapple with and everything, but at the same time you get more one-on-one. It's basically like a free private class from Professor Markus in the morning classes, and it's like, we have one guy who wouldn't be able to train if we didn't have morning classes. Those are the classes my non-negotiable classes.
One thing specifically, women. Our women's class, huge.
We had 10 people on Tuesday.
That's incredible. So my daughter, she's a blue belt. She comes to my morning classes and beats up men. It's great. She got a new job, and so she's been a little spotty with her attendance this year. I give her a lot of trash because she's trained 4 times in 2026.
It's not a lot. That's not enough.
It is not. It is not. And she recognized that. So this past week, she's Tuesday, Thursday. She's like, Dad, that's my commitment. Tuesday, Thursday morning at your morning class. Like, cool. She walks on the mat and ankle locks a dude. Yeah, cool. You know, women need Jiu Jitsu. It is huge. Didn't you say we had a girl that was pregnant and she trained till when?
Karina trained until the day she gave birth. She was in class. She wasn't doing the sparring or the techniques, but she came and did the warm-ups, did the squats and everything, and then I get a text a few hours later, my water broke and we're going to the hospital. So
Jiu-Jitsu induces labor.
Jiu-Jitsu can induce labor.
There we are.
Yes.
And then how soon was she able to come back and train?
It was a little bit. So she had a lot of things going on, but she came back. I don't remember exactly how soon after, but it wasn't terribly long. The thing is, and this is really sad to say, but it's like, I find out a woman in my class got pregnant, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to see you again, because that's been the reality for a few people. So when Karina got pregnant, she told me before she told other people in her family, and she was just like, I'm pregnant, but I still want to train. How can we do this?
So cool.
And I was like, well, I'm going to research my butt off to figure out. So I went through lots of stuff, and I'm like, kind of used her as a test subject. Thanks, Karina, because I'm like, okay, so now when I get pregnant, now I know what.
Oh, so good, so good.
But yeah, and the women have been, it's a really supportive community, and it's a place where Karina felt safe to train even when she was pregnant, and she had safe training partners, and I made sure that any people who wouldn't be beneficial for her to train with at the point she was in her life, that they would be partners with other people. I know Markus is very, very considerate of things, the physical disadvantages people might have at a certain point in their life, like maybe their neck is at 15% or something, or they have a busted up knee. It's like, okay, and the other thing is, when our women are in the co-ed classes, Professor is very careful to make sure that they go with people who are going to be respectful to them. Not to say we have disrespectful people in our gym, but you can have a really respectful man and he doesn't know how to roll with her. Like maybe he gets all a little crazy or something.
Things happen,
Things happen, but Professor has been really, really good about supporting our women in our classes, and it's so awesome to see many more, just have 3 women's classes a week, and then the amount of ladies who have come in and who are also training in the co-ed classes as well. So the more women who start training in the co-ed classes encourage other women to come train in the co-ed classes. And I mean, I've been training jiu-jitsu for almost 13 years now, 13 years in September. So I guess not almost, but pretty close to sort of almost. And even though I was comfortable doing jiu-jitsu with other guys and everything, anytime I go to a new gym, I'd be looking for a girl. And it's like,
it's
just
tough.
Feel a bit more comfortable. And then, then once you warm up and you start to know other people, for me at least, I was like, okay, who cares who is in class, if there's a girl in class or not? I mean, now I know, like Tanner, I was like looking for Tanner. Every class I went to, I was like, where's Tanner? Because Markus would either be teaching class or helping out in class, and I'd be like, well, I
you
can't
look for that person that you know you're going to be safe while you're training.
Exactly,
I feel like the intimidation factor that we discussed earlier to walk through the door is tough. But for a lady, walking into a gym where there's only men, that's not going to happen.
You
Come on now.
You have to have a special firecracker of a lady to come, a trailblazer. And we had a couple other girls, like one other girl, but then she moved to Alaska, and then we had another girl, but then she wasn't here all the time. So I was going to train regardless, because this place was 5 minutes from my house, and the assistant professor was pretty cute.
You had some motivation.
I had a little bit of motivation, but it was, when we started the women's class, I was just like, we should, more women need to come to jiu-jitsu, and
we put a lot of work into that to get that going.
We did.
A lot of work.
And I think, number one, it's grown from the Tuesday and Saturday classes to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and number 2, our women's classes has grown. We have our own women's group chat, and we have 22 ladies in it now.
You know, I love seeing the comments. I get all the reviews, over 100 5-star reviews. Now, wait, I think we're higher than that. I think we're like 120 or
something. It's
all 5 stars. We've got a great school. Love reading those comments. And we also get a lot of texts. So all of our leads, all of our resources and marketing or whatever, all lead to one platform. We can read and respond to everything. I love seeing those. And I think one of my favorites was, I finally found, how does she put this? The support, or lady support, I was looking for. Something of that nature. But what she was insinuating was like, I found my people. And I was like, that's why we're here. Is we're creating people who are confident, in shape, healthy, but have a group. It is so hard to find a group that you connect with, that you're comfortable with, that you have fun with, that you look forward to seeing.
Do other things with.
Yes, boating, fishing, Lady Lake Day or whatever, you know.
Yeah, our women's lake, we have, Cassidy owns a farm, and we farm days over there. It's just
Jiu-jitsu with goats.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of goat yoga, it's goat jiu-jitsu. That's
our next t-shirt. I would like us to grow to a point where, well, number one, we have lady classes every day. Co-ed training is important. We need that team, you know, always good to have us all train together. But also need that specific for ladies. There's a new nonprofit happening down where I'm at, and the girl was trying to cater to trafficking, ladies who have been trafficked. And so she asked Brooke and I to come help the first class. What she was asking was, hey, these girls are being assaulted by men, whether it's domestic violence or trafficking or whatever, but some of the situations they're getting into, or being put into, I should say, they need to know how to get away, you know? And so it was like the guys on top choking and showing how to roll just to kick them off to get away. And some of that stuff needs to be ladies only, so that they can work on stuff in positions that are comfortable, with the partner they're comfortable with, you know? Me as a dad, knowing that my daughter, you know, she's not going to be able to beat up a 280-pound man hell-bent on hurting her. But she might be able to stall him for 5 minutes to get help, or so somebody can come help her, right?
Yeah.
Just having that in my head, when she was still in high school, she was going to some event with one of her friends. She went to pick her up, and the dad said, hey, if you have to use the bathroom, take Brooke with you. She can help you. I'm like, that's good. I like that. I like other parents are relying on my daughter to make sure their daughter's going to be safe, because they know.
Brooke the bodyguard.
Yeah, right? Remember the school competition we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, she made that little girl cry, which it was sad. It really was. But at the same time, as a dad,
you were like, yeah!
Yeah, so I show that little quick clip every once in a while, and it's, yeah, I'm proud daddy. But knowing that she's got that little extra training, because quite honestly, when people are getting attacked, the attackers are usually picking victims that are easy targets.
I mean, why pick something that's harder?
Yeah.
I mean, you see it in nature all the time. You always take the path of least resistance.
Our classes, when we do sparring, that is good practice. That you've got somebody coming at you, all right, let's do this, right? And it's controlled, very, very controlled environment, but it's still putting you in that position that you're not going to be unfamiliar with if something happens.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So that's so good for the ladies, for the daughters, and obviously our sons too. I would love for my wife to train, but it's just not her thing. Maybe one day.
Once you move up to Spokane, wait a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Then she'll see some stuff.
We'll see. But it's such a good sport, and I'm so thankful for God putting this in my life and you guys in my life, and it's so much fun, and I just get every day I think, good Lord, I love this sport. Every day I get done, I roll off the mats, I'm dripping with sweat, and just, it's a good day.
Yes. Looking back on your career, your 4-year career as a jiu-jitsu employer and jiu-jitsu school owner, starting from the ground up, is there any advice or anything you would do differently to somebody just starting out a jiu-jitsu gym or is thinking about opening a jiu-jitsu gym?
So for somebody starting out jiu-jitsu, show up. Show up. If you don't show up, you're never going to learn. Twice a week, start off twice a week, commit. Create that repetition in your schedule that this is it. This is my schedule. This is like showing up for work. I got to be there at 8. You got to be at jiu-jitsu at whatever class you picked, show up twice a week to start with. Add on as necessary, but you have to show up. Same thing with the business. You have to show up. It's tough for me to come up here like this. It is tough. I've got 2 other businesses I run down there. I've got a family. My son's homeschools. I homeschool him. We have a very busy family life. You have to show up. Somebody new opening a school, research the heck out of your path. And by that, I mean, if you're going to do the plug and play franchise, if you're going to do the franchise that, hey, here's our name and here's a couple of pictures, good luck, which I love option number 2. Or if you're going to do third party, but you're going to have to research the heck out of that and surround yourself with other owners and people who are like-minded, because it's nice being able to go to Professor Scott or Professor Garrett and, hey, I got this problem. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Or, oh, I like what you did there, Having a little bit of a network has been helpful. And obviously yours and Professor Markus's background has been huge. You guys obviously have a lot more experience than I do in jiu-jitsu. You've seen a lot more schools. You've participated in a lot more of the events and problems and stuff, which is huge. And so surrounding yourself with those people is big, and having that network that you can rely on to guide you.
What is some advice you have for someone brand new, just starting or thinking about starting jiu-jitsu?
I would say don't feel like you have to be in shape to start jiu-jitsu. We hear that excuse a lot.
You're never in shape.
That's like, I got to lose weight to lose weight.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm not a big frame man. I lost 20 pounds. So I was in shape, but not jiu-jitsu shape. You're never going to be in.
So different.
So different. I've weightlifted almost, I would say 4 to 5 times a week for like 20 years. That first class, I was puking in the parking lot. I was going so hard just trying to survive with that girl, and I'm puking in the parking lot after class. Literally. Show up, walk through the door, make that commitment, and just walk through the door. And you're not going to regret it. At a good school, you're not going to regret it. Research your school. Know what you're looking for. I think that would probably be my biggest piece of advice. Do you have aspirations of fighting in the UFC? Because there's schools for that. There's schools that are absolutely brutal, kill you, teach you to do all the things to go fight UFC. And then there's schools that, hey, we want to give you some skills. We want to teach you. Yes, you can compete. You can absolutely compete. But we also want you to have fun. We want you to be able to walk out the door after class.
Yes.
Research what you're wanting for the school you're wanting. Look at the reviews. Go visit the school. Go take an intro class. Take 2 intro classes. Meet the professor. Meet the coaches. know the environment that you're committing to. Yeah. I think that would be my best advice right there. Like I said, there's a lot of schools out there, a lot of schools that fit a lot of needs. And you can find everything from, heck, like we said, hot yoga to
go jiu-jitsu.
Go jiu-jitsu. Yep, and everything in between. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jon, for coming. You specifically drove up here this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, to film this podcast.
This is kind of a culmination of a lot of hard work to put this room together, and working with Shannon, our marketing guy. I don't know, shout out to Shannon. Thank you.
Big shout out to Shannon.
Yeah, he's really helped us. Our marketing has been incredible. I love your guys' new videos, by the way. Your new marketing videos are incredible. I was like, it's so much fun just watching those. But this is like a culmination of just all that kind of coming together. Our school numbers, you mentioned small classes are great, but big classes are fun. When you have a lot of people you can train with.
The atmosphere is electric.
Yes, absolutely. And the humidity in the air.
And then you don't even realize it until you step outside and you're like,
it's 20 degrees cooler out here.
This is what it's like to breathe?
So yeah, this has been great. And I'm thankful for you, Professor. This is a lifelong dream for 4 years.
Well, we're thankful for you. Without you, we wouldn't be here. God is amazing, and He has blessed me so much with where we're at and with jiu-jitsu. And now I'm like, I went to school for public relations and journalism. Now I get to teach jiu-jitsu, use my journalism in the blog posts in this podcast, and use my public relations to administer it. I'm like using all of my degrees in one place with jiu-jitsu.
Side hustle of inducing labor. What better than that?
What better than that? You are to thank for all of it. You've been, I just want everybody to know what a boss you are.
Oh, thank you. That's cool.
I've been calling you Boss Man Jon for ages, and you've been, like Markus and I were talking, you are the creme de la creme of bosses.
I appreciate it. It's because you don't see me every day.
Probably. We're like, no, Barbara, make him stay. Make him stay.
Things are good here. Just keep them down there.
No, but it's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you again so much for coming, Jon.
Time to go to class.
I think one of the most unique aspects of our story is how Jon did take that risk as a 2-stripe white belt to start a jiu-jitsu gym. Usually you'll see people here start as a white belt, and this is true in all sorts of jiu-jitsu gyms. They'll start as a white belt and then get a couple stripes, and then all of a sudden we never hear or see from them ever again. Or they have 4 stripes on their white belt, they're about to get their blue belt, and then right before belt promotion's gone. Nowhere to be seen. So the fact that Jon, a 2-stripe white belt, 2 months into his jiu-jitsu journey, decided he loved the sport enough to start a whole business out of it, that's super unique. And I think his enthusiasm and his excitement to bring jiu-jitsu to other people is one of the things that really makes our gym special and unique. Before you leave, don't forget to leave us a comment saying something that you learned in this episode, something that completely blew your mind. Maybe it was the fact that Jon started a gym as a 2-stripe white belt. And leave questions for us in the comments below. I know we got into a little bit on how to start your own gym and some of the things that Jon wished he would have done differently. But if you have any other questions, let us know. We'll get to them in a future episode. And I know Jon would be more than willing to answer and spread wisdom on the things he has learned and things he wished he would have done as he got started in the game. Like this video, subscribe, and also ring our notification bell so that way you don't miss out on our next episode happening not next Friday, but the Friday after at 10 a.m. Until next time, we'll see you on the mats.